All right, Rob. A lot of people think that the NBA All-Stars took last night off.
Chris. Oh, God.
It was we talked about it, Rob.
We did.
When was a team going to score 200?
Didn't we say that on Friday?
Behold, yep. 211. They went well past 200. 211 to 186. The East beat the West. Rob, just let me read you a few things. They combined for, I believe, a record 168 three-point attempts. That's a record. Damian Lillard was the MVP with 39 points. He shot 11 for 23 from three-point lane.
23 three-pointers. Okay.
He took 3 other shots.
I think that's what Michael Jordan took his first NBA season. Was 23.
It might be
Somebody
more.
look it up.
Look
it up, Chris.
It's probably
right?
more than that. He probably didn't take 23. Yeah.
That would be interesting just to see. I bet
I'm gonna look it up.
I know it wasn't that many because people were taking threes only when they need threes.
Oh yeah, no, it was totally different. Let's see. Tyrese Halliburton had a nice game, 32 points. Here's the funny one, Rob, and Jaylen Brown dropped 36. Karl Anthony Towns had 50. He shot 23 for 35. 50 points and no one seems to care. He had 31 in the fourth quarter.
Chris, no one cares because they didn't put up any defense. No one wanted anybody to get hurt. What was that famous highlight that we keep seeing of Luka just throwing
up from 70 feet?
From 70 feet like a moonshot. What was that?
Well, Damian Lillard hit 2, and he made them, but 2 half-court shots. Really impressive because they were regular jumpers that he shot, but very impressive. But what was your impression of the game? Obviously, we getting little hints from you.
Yes.
But what'd you think?
Embarrassing. Just as bad. You know what, Chris? I didn't think there was anything that could be worse than the Pro Bowl, and then yesterday happened. Like seriously. Like last night was let us do our best to turn people off totally to the NBA All-Star game so that we don't have to play it anymore. Like as if it was a design to get people to talk about it and say, what can you do? We should end it. Like that's what it felt like. Like total disregard for the league, total disregard for the fans, total disregard.
Quickly, Rob, when you said for the league, because remember the commissioner, Adam Silver, all weekend was pushing it. We've been talking to the players. Joe Dumars talking to the players,
about trying to get it competitive.
Play hard. Yeah, we're going to be competitive.
That's what I'm saying.
They lightened up the pregame, announcing. Usually you had, might have guys dancing, or it's just beyond, normal when the way they announced the players. And they went back to kind of a little more basic. Still was impressive. It was good the way they introduced the players. But, they cut back because they thought that might help the players be loose.
No.
And come out, and none of it worked.
And that's what I'm saying, Chris. Like, how embarrassing for Adam Silver to have egg on his face talking about that and putting that out there, and then they turn in that performance. That's why I said it felt like they were trying to be like, well, let's put our worst performance out there so that people will finally just get over this and we don't have to come here anymore. We don't have to do this anymore. That's what it felt like to me. I've covered a million All-Star games. You know this. You've done the same. I started covering the league since 1987. I can remember going, Chris, and the All-Star weekend and what it was, and to see guys play together and all that kind of stuff and the combination. It was interesting to me. It really was. I'm not trying to be Joe Old Man. It was interesting to me back in those days. And what it's turned into is a total embarrassment and not worth watching. Chris, even you would have tried to find a Golden Girls marathon yesterday than watch that. That's how bad it was.
I mean, I did watch it. I had it on. I was doing some other stuff, but I watched it. And I can't disagree with anything you said, Rob. If you didn't know better, you'd almost think the players were trying to convince you not to get rid of the game.
That's what it felt like.
I get it in football because, that's a collision sport, and you can get hurt anytime you step on the field. So they should have, you almost can argue they never should have been playing, a Pro Bowl tackle football with their best players out there like that. Now they go flag, which is
you could buy that,
a little
right?
better, right? But this, Rob, and I said it Friday, I meant it. The celebrity game was more competitive.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No. Right. We talked about
Micah Parsons and C.J. Stroud and Jennifer Hudson and whoever else was out there. They were trying harder than these players. And there is no excuse. I think, Rob, when things went south, in my view, for the All-Star game, was 2015. I think I said 2014 last time I mentioned it. 2015 in New York City. And they took 133 three-point attempts. And we know last night we said they took 168. But, Rob, my view is that, and we've talked to ex-players, current players, about how, today's game, in the real games, the floor is so spread out. And to defend, you have to cover a lot more ground, which obviously takes a lot more energy.
Right.
And so in an all-star game, guys are obviously, we just read the numbers, are shooting tons of threes. So the defenders, obviously, they're not going regular season speed, but they either need to go out there and defend. And a lot of times they're like, man, this is an all-star game. I'm not really trying to cover all this ground. So guys are shooting wide open threes. Or if they do go out to defend, then the lane is wide open and the lane part's like the Red Sea during these All-Star games. And it's just you go in for a drive and dunk or layup. And it's just darn near unwatchable. And Rob, I used to, when you mentioned the 80s, when you start covering it, right. I was in college still at that time. And watching the All-Star game was like must-see TV for us. We wanted to see what tricks Isaiah Thomas was going to do, what tricks Magic was going to do, Jordan. And the thing is, a dunk in a game, a dunk is better when it's on somebody. You know what I did like? I don't know if you saw it, right? Trae Young nutmegged Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. Put the ball threw it between his legs, right. And kept his dribble and scored. That was fun because it was resistance. Right. Durant was trying. I remember when Tracy McGrady threw it off the glass in one of the All-Star games and dunked it. It was great because it was about 4 or 5, maybe 6 people in the lane. When he did it, there was resistance. And now, guys will do it and the lane is wide open and it's no big deal. So, yeah, it was pretty bad, Rob. And I don't want them to end the All-Star game. And we'll talk a little later about possibly some things they could do to improve it. But this is not a good look. And, Rob, we've talked about the load management, which, in fairness, is not all on the players. A lot of it's on these teams and their trainers and their recommendations to the players or outright demands of the players sitting out. Load management, Rob, so guys missing national games. Obviously, the All-Star game being a mess. Like, Chris, the players are not putting their best foot forward for the TV audience. And here we go. I'm glad you brought that up. Come back to hurt them. They got to realize that, Rob.
They got a deal coming up, Chris. Their contracts, TV contracts are coming up. If you were an executive.
Who's going to want this
for ESPN or Turner or TNT? Yep. You looked at yesterday and said, we want that? No, we don't want that. We don't.
Yeah.
That's the part that I think that is crazy, that they really don't realize the damage that they're doing. You're going to turn people off where they don't want to watch that, or the networks say, we'll take an NBA package, 1 game a week, and we're not paying for the All-Star game. We don't want that.
Right.
We don't want. That's what happens. We don't want any of that.
No, it's real, and they need to like, I remember, Rob, and I mentioned this before. I don't remember where the game was, but it was one of the Rising Stars games. And it was basically what we saw yesterday. And David Stern went off on how bad it was, and that doesn't represent the NBA and so on and so forth. And, we talk Adam Silver. He's got a lot of good qualities, but he's a player's commissioner. And sometimes you gotta bring down the hammer on the players. And that was just embarrassing. To turn to weigh in on the debacle that was the NBA All-Star game.
Chris, that's the right word, no doubt.
Yep.
Stanley in Maryland, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio on a Magic City Monday. What's up, Stanley?
Everything is all good. How you brothers doing tonight?
Doing great.
You're great, man.
Great. Hey, I'm 45. I just want to say real quick 2 things. I'm 45, and this game that they call All-Star game nowadays is absolute trash. and it's almost like I was telling the guy, that picked up, accept the call. I was telling him like it's almost like a back in the day backyard blacktop game at a cookout. Like,
I don't even think it's that.
I know, because you know what? In a cookout, right, Chris, you're not trying to let somebody score 50 on you if you're at a cookout.
Exactly.
Hey, but
I think what it is, and keep the caller on, what it is, in my view, you know how you play open gym and maybe you've played now for a few hours, and then sometimes there's that last game
and
where everybody's kind of done, and they're not playing hard, and guys are cherry picking, and it's just not competitive. That's what it is to me.
I get that, and that makes sense too. And also, I wanted to say this last thing before you guys have a better night. I understand, and I understand that Dame got MVP and he should be recognized. But I think that Cat should have MVP not just because he dropped a 50-piece chicken nugget from Chick-fil-A, but because he was the one that played the most defense and offense, I think, in the whole game. And y'all have a good night.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Stanley.
Cat was trying, but he was driving to the hole. Nobody's stopping him. He's just, scoring.
Right.
I was fine with Dame. The one thing, Rob, Dame clearly went for it. Now, maybe that's because there's a budding rivalry, between the Bucks and the Pacers. And Dame hitting the 2 half-court shots, like regular jump shots, I mean, that was impressive. But Tyrese Halliburton probably had the best game. He only took 15 shots. I think had 32 points.
That could have been, but in the old days, Chris, he might have been the MVP. If that, you know what I mean? Like that performance.
You talking about Halliburton?
Yeah, I'm just saying if it was a regular game, if it was a regular game,
because he was hometown,
right?
But he wasn't. He played a regular game and wasn't playing selfishly. Dame was clearly going for it. And look, Dame shot well,
and he got it.
It was impressive. Yeah.
Marty in Kentucky, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. Marty's a hoop head kind of guy. I know you didn't enjoy that, Marty.
No, sirree. How y'all doing this Magic City Monday?
What's up, Marty? Good to hear from you.
Well, guys, what's happening now clearly is not working and it's not entertaining. They've got to experiment, find a way to make this have some pride in it. Now, I think it's time, and the players out of the country have, they've come to the point where I think that it's really competitive if we go USA versus the world, and you promote it, make it a best out of 3 series, make the
it's the All-Star week. Come on, Marty. You don't have to do all that. Come on, no.
Well, I don't think you can do best of 3.
You can't do no best of 3. If somebody tears something playing 3 games, Chris, over the weekend.
Right.
Stop,
you could
Marty.
Just play one.
Can't do it.
For your country.
No.
You could just play one game. I kind of think that, I think it would take out some pride. It was Americans would have pride because a lot of it, like Jokic and Luka in particular, and Giannis, we used to see Giannis at the beginning of the All-Star games. He's really trying, and then he looks ridiculous out there because he's going hard. Nobody else is playing.
Exactly.
So he's kind of bought into it is what it is. But Jokic clearly doesn't fit in this. Like, he don't even look like he could play basketball in this setting. I mean, really. And Luka doesn't look good either.
Terrible. All right. Thanks, Marty. Andre in South Florida. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Andre?
Hey, you guys doing? Love
Good.
the show. Favorite show.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
What I look forward to. It's crazy how, like, over the past, I would say it's maybe been, like, the past, like, 7-8 years, the regular season means nothing. The slam dunk contest means nothing. They don't play hard. The All-Star game, that was, how could you even watch that? I can understand being there in person.
Right, you paid for the tickets. Right.
Look, the last one
like,
I went to in person, it ain't much better in person.
No, but I'm saying once you get there, Chris, and you paid your money and your flight.
Oh,
you know what I mean. You're gonna go there, right?
Yeah, when seeing those guys in person, they're huge. They're superstars. It's different in person. And that is awful. I don't know what the NBA is going to do because you cannot have. They've taken away them playing during the season, minimum games where the fans get jobs. Now the All-Star game. It's awful. I mean, that is a water. It was like WWE. That was a fake game. That was like it pretty much being like scripted. It was awful.
That's a good call. Yeah, the WWE. Thanks,
They
Andre.
need to have a real talk with the players. The Players Association and the league needs to be like, look, this is going to hurt the bottom line, which is your paycheck.
This is going to hurt us. We're in contract negotiations with the network, and we put on that. One more, Chris. Michael in North Carolina. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going good.
How are you?
Rob, I know how much you love baseball, but I got to tell you, the NBA All-Star Game for many, many years has been my favorite All-Star Game. But after last night, that was a pathetic disgrace that I watched. I mean, can you at least try to defend just a little bit? I mean, 211 points. Is just an abomination, and the only way you can fix it, in my opinion, is if you add an incentive, just like they did for the in-season tournament, is compensation. Otherwise, I think they have to get rid of it because it's a disgrace, and I got to tell you, nobody's going to bid on that. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I mean, first of all, $500,000 to a lot of these guys, particularly all-stars, who most of them are probably max guys.
Making $30 million, Chris,
right.
$40 million.
I just don't know that that's going to do it. And Rob, look, the verdict is still out on the in-season tournament because it was the Lakers-Pacers, which tells me that those aren't the top teams in the league.
Nope.
A lot of the top teams didn't take – LeBron really took it seriously, which was a good look for the league. But I don't know how seriously the other teams took it. Now, we'll see next year, do they take it seriously? But I don't know if that extra money, Rob, is going to do it.
I'm with you. The money is so big, Chris.
Yeah.
It's just not what is going to make people play. And the other thing is just simply, it was supposed to be a showcase for the league. That's all. Nobody's asking you to get hurt, do anything crazy, Chris. Just play basketball the same way you would play in a pickup game in the off season. It's the same. You play against other guys, Chris, in the off season. There's always a chance you could get hurt in something like that, but you play. You don't go out there and do that. Otherwise, what's the point of it?
Why would you even play?
There's no point of it.
Yep. No doubt. No doubt.